Hello, I'm Magalie Laguerre-Wilkinson, and welcome to Arts in the City from the High Line. We're going to give you a little tour and a bit of history about the High Line later on. But first, the 2013 Tony Awards may already be a part of history, but there's always plenty of theater right here in great New York City. Those Book of Mormon men, Spider-Man, and the muscular young heroes of Newsies were the center of attention on Broadway last year. But this season, the other gender is commanding the spotlight. Pat Collins tells us about the fabulous females on the Great White Way.
A brainy little girl outwits her bullying parents and an evil headmistress in Matilda, the phenomenal London hit, delighting audiences at the Schubert Theater.
Like I always say, if you can't say anything nice about someone, come sit by me!
When she returned to Broadway for the first time in more than 30 years, Bette Midler set a box office record at the Booth Theater, playing the late Hollywood super agent Sue Mengers in I'll Eat You Last. With Laura Osnes wearing the glass slipper, the revival of Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella is the perfect fit for theatergoers seeking an enchanting escape.
I'm a young Norwegian princess or a milkmaid. I'm the greatest prima donna in Milan. And wouldn't you rather be a left-handed flea?
Pippin star Patina Miller won a Tony Award playing the role created by Ben Vereen on Broadway 40 years ago.
The sun will come out tomorrow, so you gotta hang on till tomorrow. Come what may.
When the revival of Annie opened shortly after Hurricane Sandy struck, the spunky can-do spirit of America's most famous orphan boosted the spirits of theatergoers who needed a dose of optimism more than ever.
Can you imagine if I were your mother-in-law?
Two and a Half Men co-star Holland Taylor received a Tony nomination for her extraordinary performance in Anne, based on the life of Ann Richards, the feisty former governor of Texas, who died in 2006.
All the day long, this is my story.
The incomparable Cicely Tyson won a Tony Award for the trip to Bountiful. This production, which co-stars Vanessa Williams and Cuba Gooding Jr., has been extended through September 1st. Casting a spell on theatergoers at the Gershwin Theater, Wicked has been Broadway's highest-grossing show for the last 9 years. With those Super Troopers and ABBA songs, Mamma Mia has grossed $2 billion worldwide since 1999. And let's applaud the ladies and the rest of the cast of the Tony-winning musical Kinky Boots and the behind-the-scenes team of Cyndi Lauper and Harvey Fierstein. I'm Pat Collins for CUNY TV.
Exploring the Arts was founded in 1999 by Tony Bennett and his wife, Susan Benedetto. Its mission is to strengthen the role of the arts in public high school education. I recently sat down with Susan Benedetto and talked about the program and one of its success stories. Something exceptional is taking place at the Urban Assembly School for the Performing Arts in Harlem. Here at Urban Assembly, the focus is on the arts as a means to excel academically. Students have a rigorous workday with everything from math class to dance class, as well as apprenticeships and master classes off of school grounds. Urban Assembly student Destiny Snipes is passionate about the theater and singing. She also has a clear idea of what her career path will be.
I want to study theater and criminal justice, and I want to be able to open up my own kind of business in helping younger kids like myself and even younger than me through theater and through vocal and through also dance.
Yes,
Unlike other performing arts schools, Urban Assembly doesn't require auditions from their candidates. Urban Assembly's principal, Fia Davis.
We want to take students who really demonstrate interest, but maybe didn't have the means when they were 5 years old to take music lessons or go to dance class. We want to cultivate diamonds in the rough. So we have students who come to us from 4 of the 5 boroughs. They get up in the dark and go home in the dark because they choose to be here.
Since 2009, Urban Assembly has been in partnership with Exploring the Arts, a nonprofit organization supporting arts education in New York's public schools. Exploring the Arts, founded by the legendary Tony Bennett and his wife Susan Benedetto, a former public school teacher, goes into high schools, bringing the arts into an existing academic curriculum.
We use the performing arts as a tool to excite students, to encourage them, to infuse learning in math, science, English, history. So the idea is you get to study and develop your artistic craft as well as your academics.
Yolanda Knights says that even though she's a dance teacher, she's also learning. But it's your job as an instructor, in a way, to pull out that talent that's probably tucked in somewhere.
Exactly.
What's that like for you as a teacher?
It's awesome. This was the first job that I ever took in which I was training completely raw students. So the experience is challenging, but it's also really amazing because we get to see transformation from 9th grade through senior year. And you know, the children come in wanting to know how to do all of these things, and they don't know any of it. So you get to see real progress in them over the years and real learning and just real transformation. And then by senior year, they've learned and grown so much.
How are you?
I'm great, how are you?
Good to see you.
A growth that thrills co-founder Susan Benedetto. What has made you happy? What has made you say, wow, this was worth it all?
You know, when you see that, you know, a majority of the kids that you're helping get through high school are graduating and going on to college, that's huge. Very simple things. When you see a child that, you know, never really wanted to come to school before and now they want to come to school.
And you've managed to create something, it seems, that's now available to everyone. Because as we all know, the arts in schools have been available to a select few.
Right.
Let's be honest.
Right.
Unbeknownst to you, you've almost created a social movement.
Yeah, well, it is interesting. Maybe so. I mean, there's a lot of great organizations out there doing stuff, you know.
But you started in Queens.
Right.
You know, we're in Harlem right now.
Right, we're expanding.
We're expanding.
We're going out to California starting next school year. So that's the goal. The goal is to bring back quality arts education into public high schools throughout the country. You know, Tony always says he wants to have the United States produce more artists than any other country in the world, but he likes to dream big. You know, we are passionate about it because, you know, it's so silly to have to defend it, and this is such a no-brainer. When you give children something that they love, something that they're interested in, I mean, when we're toddlers, everybody responds to music, and everybody starts with the crayons and the finger paints. And then the second they get a little older, we rip all that out of their hands and say, now you're going to sit here and take a test. And, you know, not that testing is wrong, there's a place for it.
We understand.
But why would you stifle their spirit and their creativity, especially in this day and age? It's just, again, even if you're not going to be an artist, it's essential for a well-rounded education.
Something Urban Assembly for the Performing Arts and students like Destiny Snipes are grateful for. That well-rounded education through music, dance, or singing. For more information on exploring the arts, you can log on to our website, CUNY.tv. Stellar views, scrumptious food, and cutting-edge art. All of this and more can be found here, along the tracks of the High Line, this park along Manhattan's West Side that's a truly elevated experience. In its past life, the High Line was a freight rail line, 30 feet above ground, that served Manhattan's industrial neighborhoods along the Hudson River. After spending close to 30 years unused, a segment of the rail line reopened in 2009 as a public park. In 2011, a second section of the park opened, expanding its reach from Gansevoort Street to West 30th Street. Its third and final section, called the Rail Yards, will open in 2014. If planets and constellations are your thing, don't miss Stargazing on the High Line every Tuesday night. If you're bringing the kids, be sure to check out Wild Wednesday for free weekly hands-on nature activities. And if you're itching to put that green thumb to work, the High Line offers weekly drop-in park volunteer opportunities. For those looking for artistic inspiration as they soak up the sun on the park's lawn, look high and low for the High Line's public art projects. These works include site-specific commissions, performances, and exhibitions. A billboard-sized canvas along 10th Avenue always features new and daring works. So lace up your sneakers, slather on the sunscreen, and make your way to the West Side for this one-of-a-kind New York experience. For a listing of the High Line's upcoming events and art installations, visit CUNY.tv for a link to the park's website. From a busy port and industrial area to a revitalized neighborhood and artists enclave, it's also a Superstorm Sandy survivor. Red Hook, Brooklyn has stood the test of time and is once again digging down to its roots and making a comeback. We visited the neighborhood as it celebrated its artist flair and showed off its pride at bouncing back bigger and better than ever.
My name's Dave Herman, and we're here to see the party in Red Hook. This is a moment of rebirth and revitalization of the neighborhood after it's been hard hit by Sandy, and we're glad to be able to witness this.
Today is the 20th annual Red Hook Festival. It's a big celebration of the Red Hook community for young people, old people, and it's a chance to see really great professional artists for free.
I beg her to introduce myself and ask her name.
Because of the hurricane and all the things that have been happening in our community, we felt like we needed a rebirth parade, which is actually the theme of our festival, that we're back, Red Hook is back, it's rebuilding, the businesses are back, kind of with the nod to New Orleans. So I think it's a very vibrant place where all kinds of different art mix side by side. You never know where you're going to find art. You can see kids doing amazing dance. You can see a mural that's absolutely gorgeous. You can stumble on a great festival like today. So you can have a really rich experience just walking down Van Brunt Street. You can go get a burger, Hope and Anchor, go to a gallery across the street, or our newest, most extraordinary gallery, Pioneer Works. They're doing a lot of art and science collaborations, and we have the Brooklyn Waterfront Artists Coalition, which is an artist group that puts on these amazing art shows several times a year.
This is out of a single piece of wood. My name is Judith Eloise Hooper. I'm the gallery manager for BWAC, and we're out on the piers in Red Hook. All of these buildings are pre-Civil War. We're a mixture of sculpture and painting and photography and mixed media, and whatever you have, bring it to BWAC because we want it, and we've now started our writers' reading series. We're working on getting playwrights to have readings here on Saturday. We have a film festival that goes on in our fall show.
Well, like many places in New York City, when I'd say 20, 30 years ago, when this was a really economically devastated community, artists are always looking for affordable space, and I think they love the sort of being by the water, the historic buildings, the light. The light in Red Hook is extraordinary.
There's a picture of us during Sandy that was there.
I am David Sharps, and I'm the president of the Waterfront Museum. We're docked here in Red Hook, Brooklyn, across from Fairway. We do programs in dance and theater and music and circus, and there's a pirate school for those young budding pirates.
Well, we like it a lot because he likes it a lot. But
Can I ring the bell now?
We like the bells, right? And we like the boat, and we like the history, and we like talking to Dave, right?
Atlantic waves are cutting shapes in the Coney Island sand.
We have a music scene that is happening sort of informally. Our extraordinary businesses have all teamed up to sponsor a open-air film festival that happens in this park, I think June through September. For me, it's the spirit, it's the visuals, you know, the feeling of people working together across very different lines of race and class and culture that I think really makes Red Hook a very special place.
For more information about Red Hook and for a helpful visitor's map, log on to CUNY.tv.
I'm Anne Riddell. Welcome to MIST Harlem, a cultural center long in the planning and now open to the public. Here you'll find arts of all kinds, from film screenings to live music. Your tour starts now. Step inside MIST and you'll sense what's at work, a modern Harlem Renaissance that also maintains tradition, a feeling of Harlem both old and new.
We want to make sure we're highlighting the culture before it disappears, because as we can see, Harlem has become very gentrified, and a lot of the old landmarks have disappeared as well.
Michelle Mater is the strategic filmmaking partner for independent film at MIST. MIST, which stands for My Image Studios, is a $21 million venue located in the Kalahari building. It includes a high-end restaurant featuring low country cuisine with a gourmet touch, and 3 state-of-the-art studios that can accommodate up to 900 people. Here you can see a film, listen to poetry or live music, and just relax in what's affectionately called Harlem's living room.
One of the ideas was to have a space where people who lived in the condominium could come and have dinner, but as well as people who were in the community, the broader community, could come and have a place to hang out, to see a movie, to catch some live music, some spoken word, have dinner, have a drink at the bar, and really not have to leave your immediate community. We're halfway between Spanish Harlem and Central Harlem, so we're actually bringing together the 2 communities, the African American community and the Latino community, in a way that has not happened before.
But amid the fanfare of MIST's recent opening came an unexpected tragedy.
You don't know how excited I am. My name is Roland Laird. I'm the CEO of MIST, which is My Image Studios.
One of our major setbacks was the very sudden death of our CEO, Roland Laird. He was one of the original founders as well, and very soon after we opened, he fell ill and very suddenly passed away at the age of 52. He's a wonderful man who was very into our culture and history, and so we still try to keep him in our thoughts all the time. And of course, this space is him, so we feel his presence a lot.
As MIST moves forward, Mater hopes it will continue to inspire artists to call this space home.
We will give a lot of up-and-coming artists their first breaks. We will give new performers showcase for their work, as well as hopefully eventually we can be producing our own work here.
No question, MIST Harlem is an investment in the community and its future, but Harlem's living room, as it's called, is also a place to pull up a chair and settle in for an evening of culture and entertainment. I'm Anne Riddell for CUNY TV.
Student by day, performer after class, and often underground as part of Music Under New York. Meet harpist Emily Hopkins as she travels and performs around the city.
Once I was actually transporting my harp to a subway gig, and I had the cover on, and I was pushing it down the sidewalk, and a little kid was with his mother, and he stops and he just points at the harp, and he's like, "Oh," he's like, "Mom, look at that, it's a giant chess piece." Hi. My name's Emily Hopkins. I grew up in West Islip, Long Island. I'm a sophomore at Hunter College. I'm studying music performance. I'm part of the Hunter Symphony, which is run by Hunter. Even before I start playing, I'm unpacking. People stop to look and say, "Oh, what is that?" And it really makes me feel good that I have this talent to do this and make their day a little better. The heat of the subway is a difficult thing to deal with. It makes it difficult to stay in tune. Thankfully, I've had no hecklers. They don't really bother me a lot. I don't know who would want to bother a harpist. I've performed in Carnegie Hall in 2009 with the Metropolitan Youth Orchestra, and that was a great experience, but it is a lot different than playing in the subways. I would prefer playing in the subways because it's a lot more informal than actually going onto a stage, having complete silence, and everyone listening to you play a certain repertoire. Recently, I've noticed that when I play Beatles songs, people tend to tip more because I love how Yesterday sounds on the harp, and I guess they do too. Music Under New York is a program that allows musicians to publicly perform in subway spaces legally. Because a lot of people perform and they're not really allowed to do that. That actually happened to me in November, before I got the MUNI permit. When I was 8 years old, my family and I went out to eat. There was a harpist performing. So this was the first time I'd seen a harpist, and I just stared at him the whole dinner. I instantly knew, I was like, I need to play that. When I was accepted into Hunter, I was offered the Muse scholarship. My tuition and room and board is actually paid for, so I'm very lucky. I enjoy seeing little children come up and say, "What is that? Can I play the harp?" And I would love to inspire someone to play the harp. And it doesn't really matter about making money. It's just about doing what I love to do. I've had people come up to me and say, "Is that the thing that angels play?" And I was like, yeah.
For more information on Emily, you can log on to our website at CUNY.tv. Where do spectacular views of Manhattan's lower skyline and top-notch chamber music meet? On a barge that's floating at the foot of the Brooklyn Bridge. Barge music has been pleasing the eyes and ears of New York City locals and visitors since 1977, and we recently sat down with the venue's artistic director to learn more about what makes barge music especially special.
I think barge music is like a glue that holds everyone here together because it's an incredible cultural institution. And it has, throughout the years, in order for it to survive and to evolve the way it has evolved, you had to have people who brought great love, passion, and dedication. Barge music, it's a floating concert hall, the only one in the world that presents concerts all year long, over 200 concerts. I am Mark Piskanov, and I am the president, artistic, and executive director of Barge Music. Barge Music was founded by Olga Bloom, a violinist and violist, and also a very dear friend of mine. In 1977, she brought this barge right over here. I mean, the captain of the tugboat suggested to her, he looked at this place and said, "Look, looks like a perfect spot." And she said, "Yep," and there we are, 35, 36 years later or so, yeah. She always said that she wanted to create something so it would feel like inside of the violin. It's truly a unique experience listening to different repertoire with different musicians and being this part of this nature. I am so used to now have this incredible, wonderful view looking out to the great skyline of Manhattan and also looking at all these great ships passing by. And we have we have Masterwork series, we have Here and Now series, which have great critical acclaim. We started recently to offer admission-free concerts every Saturday at 3 p.m. The people who comes here, we call it also admission-free neighborhood concerts, family neighborhood concerts. So people feel like they can come in with small children and introduce them to the great music. And musicians that I feel, kind of nurtured here, they show themselves now in most of the greatest halls, most famous concert halls all over the world, and they still come to the Barge and they still enjoy having that incredible experience. So it makes you feel very special knowing that those people were nurtured right here on the Barge.
If a quiet read by the pool or at the beach is more your speed, we've got the scoop.
I'm Alex Crowley, and I'm the online reviews editor at Publishers Weekly. I think one of the things that we were all looking for here was what's out of the ordinary that people are going to appreciate and might change up the idea of a summer read. Red Sparrow from Jason Matthews. He's ex-CIA, someone who knows what they're talking about as far as doing a thriller, but also there's a fun twist. He includes recipes for all the food that's in the book, which is otherwise a spy thriller. YA novel called Winger, and it's maybe the best cover of the summer. Guy with a bloody nose, all about bullying. Maybe not in the vein of like a Hunger Games or Harry Potter or something like that, because it's more realist. But it could be a story that really gets younger people reading. Outlaw, The Renegades of Nashville. So Waylon Jennings, Willie Nelson, who just turned 80, Chris Christopherson. That is also probably a fun, lighter, and culturally interesting summer read as far as nonfiction. The Astronauts' Wives Club. In the early days of the space program, the wives played an integral role in the space program because of the stresses of being an astronaut. So they ended up bonding and had their own club, and so now we get a count of the Astronauts' Wives Club. The Dan Brown also is coming out. We got to leak their cover a couple months ago. As far as a big thing that's waiting to explode, I don't see anything right now, but that, something will pop up that we're not expecting. Anything could happen this summer, really.
That's our show for today. For more information on our stories, you can log on to CUNY.tv. I'm Magalie Laguerre-Wilkinson, and I'll see you next time right here on Arts in the City.